This is the Sell Your Brand Show with James Bray and Mike Killen, the one-stop shop for creative solopreneurs and startups to get the best practical advice on how to build, how to brand, and how to sell online products and content. Let's get to it. Hey guys, this is James from Brand Snack.
And Mike from Sell Your Service.
And in this episode, we're going to be taking you through exactly how you can build a unique, stylish, and engaging brand for next to nothing.
Awesome.
Mike? Yeah, it's pretty awesome, isn't it?
It's good.
How you doing, Mike?
Yeah, I'm good, man. It's been a while. We took a bit of a break, didn't we?
I was going to say, this is like just kind of like the next week for the listeners. But for us, I think it's been about, a month and a half since we've done an episode.
Yeah. Anything exciting happened to you in that time?
Well,
no, in my case, actually.
I've had a child, mate.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
I've had a little one.
Which must have been a surprise to you.
It
living
was.
your life as a man.
That's it, yeah. It just kind of fell out. And I was like, wow.
Look at that.
I thought that was just paunch.
It's a human baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations. So that's your second one.
That is the second one. Yeah, little girl. She's doing well.
Yeah.
Wife's doing well. Everyone's doing well.
All right.
And the only thing I completely forgot about was the amount of shitty nappies that you have to change every single hour. Because my eldest is like about 2.5 now.
Yeah.
So you forget about that. Completely
Yeah.
forget about it. And it's come back to hit me hard in the face, literally sometimes.
Oh,
there you go. Have that for a little one.
fuck's sake. What I've noticed is because I reckon I'm getting more broody than Liv is.
Really?
I think I am. And every time I'm around children, even when they are a bit gross, I'm always like, that's actually not too bad. I'm fine with this. But then I hear stories about children, I go, oh no, that's put me off a level. it's hearing secondhand experiences. That's what
don't listen to those.
That's what does it for me.
No, it's lovely. If you take the nappies and
he hasn't smiled once, by the way. If you're listening to this, he hasn't smiled once during this entire conversation.
I've been sitting here in my dressing gown for the past 4 weeks.
Yeah. But we're actually in your place, aren't we?
We are. Yeah, we've had a bit of change of location. Sitting in my kitchen at the moment. So if you do hear the washing machine go or the dog bark, well,
you don't have a dog, so I don't know. I don't know where that's coming.
That's just weird.
yeah.
Just me, mate. It's me barking.
Exactly. But yeah, no, it's good to be back. Like I said, obviously the listener doesn't know that there's been a break, but we had a little bit of a break, so James could go off and do selfish things like have kids and stuff.
Yeah, always.
But yeah, we want to come back with. It's interesting because I've only been talking about this recently with someone, and we had a couple of projects come in kind of during this time.
Yep.
About building brand on a budget. I think at its core, a lot of people don't know where to spend their money.
No.
The little money that they have when they're starting. And I think a lot of companies like AppSumo and Envato try to get you to spend money on tools.
Yep.
Whereas personally, I believe that there's better places to spend your money.
Yeah.
When we first started this podcast, we were really keen to invest in like decent quality equipment. Mm-hmm. Because that to me was more important than like a podcasting editing software or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is kind of going to be handed off to you on this one, and obviously there's stuff that I've bought, but there's things that I haven't really got any knowledge on. So yeah, building brand on a budget, mate.
Cool.
Take it away.
A lot of people. The thing is, a lot of people when looking to build a brand usually go to what agencies say that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And agencies will usually quote for like brand building. We usually quote from like $6,000 upwards to build a brand, and that's at the very, very low end. I mean, it can go up to like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's ridiculous, and they don't tell you what actually goes into that. They might say, "Oh yeah, we'll give you a logo and a letterhead and a business card," and you kind of think to yourself, "Why am I paying $6,000 for a logo, a letterhead, and a business card?" And that's not the entirety of brand building.
Yeah.
A lot of the brand building comes from the initial strategy. So it comes from the research that you put into finding out about yourself, finding out about your ideal audience, finding out about your competitors, and turning that into a brand strategy. And all of that stuff, to be honest, is pretty much free. It's just your time that you need to put into that.
Yeah.
One caveat on that. Something that's incredibly good for finding out about your industry and about what's going on in trends is BuzzSumo.
Yes.
I always like to call out BuzzSumo because it's an incredible tool.
Yeah.
$99 a month, I believe. And that will give you insight into like what's trending, the best blog topics going out at the moment, the best influencers, who's putting out the best content. And all of that will give you a brilliant idea of where to start directing your brand to and who's going after what types of content.
Yeah.
But apart from that, like the majority of it is just literally you putting in your time, you going into forums, you going into reviews, you going into places and reading what people have to say, listening to customers if you've already got them.
Yeah.
It's all time. But once you get into actually building the physical elements of your brand, so like the design elements, the content, and building all of that around the strategy, then you need to start spending some money.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I've broken it down into some one-off costs that people will most likely start paying to build their brand, and then some ongoing costs. And I've broken it down from the most expensive to kind of cheapest. What would you think? I know you've read the notes, so don't, it's a bit pointless question now because you've read the notes.
No, yeah.
But what would you think would be the most expensive part of the brand?
It's a good question, actually, because even then, the notes, I have read through them, and it did shake me a little bit. My initial thing for the most expensive part of the brand, it's interesting, I wouldn't have said logo. I honestly, I don't know what I would have. I probably would have put it down to like editing and copywriting, maybe.
Yep.
That's what I would have made the assumption on.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's my background or not. I don't know.
Okay. You're wrong.
Yeah. Shocking.
So, yeah.
Anyone who's listened to 22 episodes of this, that will not come as a surprise. Yeah.
No, but like you say, the logo is the most expensive part. And to be honest, logos can vary wildly in the pricing depending on who's designing them, the experience they have, what kind of brief you give to the designer, everything that goes into that, the time spent. But on average, you're probably looking to spend anywhere in between $500 to $1,000 on a logo. Yeah,
and I think I really want to put an important caveat in here. This topic is about building a brand on a budget. I personally, and we have paid 10 grand and more for a logo. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
But the reality is that starting out, when my business doesn't make 10 grand, spending 10 grand on a logo is ludicrous.
Yep.
When this is about starting out from a ground level where you've got to get some basics in play.
Yeah.
Having said that, even $1,000 or £1,000 is like considered crazy money for a logo. Spend it. So when I was running Devon Digital Design, I had a bit of budget. And I was like, I want to get my logo redone. At the time, it was like a D, and it was on a slant.
Oh, I remember, yeah.
And it was like a splat in the middle, and the splat was in the shape of Devon.
Okay.
No one ever got that. No one ever went, oh, it's the shape of Devon.
Apart from the farmer down the road.
No one. Like, I had to explain that to people, which apparently is the sign of quite a bad logo. A logo might be a bit like a joke.
Devon.
Yeah.
Where? Devon.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I really got into like the low polygon stuff. I really like low polygon animals and things like this.
Yep.
So I mocked up a really quick one, found a designer, and I think he quoted me $1,000. And I had $1,000 floating around. The agency was doing really well then. Not so much anymore. The agency had done well, and I was like, okay, well, I'm happy to spend that. I assumed when I sent the mock-up to him, he would go, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I don't need to add anything. I'm going to refund this man his money.
Amazing.
And what he came back with were designs that were so much better than anything I could have even imagined. He took the time to sit with me, understood what the business meant to me, why I chose the color green,
Yep.
or a lot of this stuff, and came back to me with this design. And even now, I'm a bit gutted that we shut the business down because I loved the logo so much. It was the best £1,000 I'd ever spent on any assets outside of me doing them in the business.
And it's so important as well because your logo is usually going to be the first point that your customers come into contact with around your business.
Yeah.
It's something that you use for all your social media handles. It's something that you'll put onto your mainstay of your website. It's something that go on all your marketing materials, on all of your content that you put out. It's everything about your business, your brand, your strategy distilled into one singular icon. And there's a hell of a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of psychology. There's a lot of information, graphic design. There's a lot of color theory that goes into it. There's so much that goes into it. You can't do it yourself. If you're not a graphic designer, please don't try.
Even then, if you are a graphic designer, I'd strongly suggest getting some outside help with it because there's something about, having someone else take this viewpoint with fresh eyes.
Yes.
Which to me, that was what I was like. That was the fundamental change, is that someone else was able to come along and go, this is how, you know, other people see you.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely logo. Absolutely. Yeah. Put aside a decent amount of money and spend a fair amount on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't like I think the big mistake people think is they go, yeah, but I can just get a logo on like Envato or like Creative Market. I think if you can't afford a decent sum for and you're going to come on to this next, I know. I think if you can't afford a decent sum for your logo, just choose a decent font and use the name until, you know, you can go on to that. But I know that's probably coming up. So that's what I would say.
Cool. So yeah, after that, the next one that is the most expensive part of creating a brand identity, your fonts.
Yeah.
Now, I know that there are basically a shitload of fonts out there for free. So people are probably questioning of why would you spend money on a font?
Yeah.
The reason is that if you want to get something truly reflective of your business and your brand, and something that's been designed with careful care and attention, there's a lot of psychology and a lot of design that goes into fonts.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of emotion that can be derived from it, even though we don't feel that there is. Think about it. Every single written word that you read is not only conveying the meaning of the word, it's also how that word looks to your eyes and to how the kind of the emotional influences of that. So a font is incredibly important. So there are tons of Google fonts out there, and the problem is 98% of them are shit, and the other 2% have been used literally ubiquitously across every single website, and they've become so generic.
Roboto and Tahoma.
There you go.
Literally everywhere.
Yeah. So if you're using the same font, then you're no different to the other 100 million businesses out there that use them.
We've got Adobe Typekit.
Yep.
Which personally, recently I've begun thinking is absolute dog shit because it doesn't fucking seem to sync with anything. If I try to if I install a new PSD or I want to try and mess around with something, despite the fact I've got about 200 fonts, 5 fonts and 20 styles from each font in Adobe Typekit, none of them seem to sync with Photoshop, so it drives me fucking bananas. And yet, one of my customers who had a custom font built, where I've got the files and we're able to install it wherever we need to, it's like working on a dream. It's absolutely amazing. I love working with their font, hate working with mine, because I've got to sync it through this fucking third-party app. So, this is a case of you are better not doing it at all if you want to do it cheap. If you've got putting a little bit of money aside, I don't know how much like a font to own and buy is, because I know there's different licensing and stuff, like $200-300.
Yeah, basically you've got the you usually have the desktop license, which will give you usage in like PowerPoint, Photoshop, and every kind of printed materials. Yeah, and you've also got the web font license to use on your website and anything online. Usually the the desktop license is a singular cost. Probably around, it could be anywhere from like $50 to $100. And then the web font license depends upon the amount of traffic that you get to your website, so it goes up in stages. But again, to begin with, it's usually around $100 or so. So for example, the font that I use across Brandsnack for both of those cost me $280. That's for 2 fonts from the same family. They're called FF Mark Pro. And there's a black version, like a really like strong, bold version, and then a normal text written version. So $280, each of them similar costs across the board. But it's so important that you get that right, and it's something that you need to choose carefully that shows your brand personality and that matches the style of writing that you've got. If you've got we always use this. If you're kind of using Comic Sans in like a law document, I know it's a ridiculous, it's a ridiculous concept. Well, it's a ridiculous example.
I have seen you joke. When I worked in London, people would write like on the conference rooms, like, "Oh, this room is reserved," in Comic Sans, and I was like, "We're listed on the FTSE. Like, what the fuck are you doing? We shouldn't be using this font. We are literally $1 billion a year business. What are you doing?"
And also, why are you using Comic Sans for something that's telling people
Exactly. No, you
to
joke.
do
This
something.
thing, people are like, oh no, I just want to just
Screams
don't.
authority.
Fucking just, yeah, no, it does, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Please don't use this room.
That's what authoritarian dictatorships use is Comic Sans when they're writing new decrees about people can't wear glasses.
It's North Korea's state
Everywhere in
font.
North Korea, it is everywhere in North Korea is Comic Sans. But having said that as well, a big trap I think people fall into is not testing fonts. They'll go for something which might have a lot of personality. If you can't read it, and if it doesn't look good on your website, don't fucking buy it.
Yep.
So which is why this is important to, if you're going to do it cheap, then don't bother doing it.
Yep.
Stick with the standard bog stuff until you can actually afford someone who can put a bit of time into it and show you that the way that's going to make it readable, legible, useful. So yeah, I totally agree with that. The next one is where actually I would have put my money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Video editing software.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I've spent fucking thousands on it. And yet I still use the one that I bought, the first one that I bought. I honestly have spent so much money on video editing software.
It's like a deep hole, isn't it? Actually, 'cause there's so much out there, and there's so many kind of like features here and there. And you only come back to using the one that works the slickest and the easiest.
Yeah.
And that you're used to.
Yeah.
I've got down for that $200.
Mm-hmm.
Because I use Camtasia.
Yeah, I use
You also
Camtasia
got
as well.
ScreenFlow on the Mac.
Yeah.
Both exactly the same product, pretty much, just across different platforms. But yeah, $200.
See, I can already hear people screaming, no, use Premiere Pro. Here's the deal, right? If you edit, there's a guy I work with called Will. Okay, he's currently doing Michael Caine's videos for not Gidley Park, Livingston Manor.
Yep.
It's definitely not Gidley Park anymore. Apparently, he's really annoyed about Gidley Park. But anyway, so Livingston Manor, he does it. But he also has tens of thousands of pounds worth of camera gear. He's a professional videographer. Super, super important, right? Yeah. I use Camtasia because it's easy to cut stuff together, put it together, whatever. If you have a tool that works, use it.
Yeah.
Like, this is another thing this is the argument I have about tools, is you shouldn't be buying stuff because you feel you need all the expensive, amazing features that the professionals are using. You are probably never going to use them. I don't use half the features that Camtasia offers.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, video editing software. I think Camtasia is weirdly on some budgets considered like on the more expensive side,
which is strange. Which
is interesting to me because it is literally like $200 or something. And it comes with so much. Comes with a screen recorder, comes with audio editing stuff, comes with a load of like the slide-ins and features and animations and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's so simple to use.
Yeah,
it's literally
really
just
simple.
like cut and paste.
Yeah,
I can like put together and I use it for the podcast.
Yeah, yes,
like,
you do.
It's not just video as well. It's also for audio. You can easily use it to put together that. It takes me 2 minutes.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, put a good. I mean, I say a decent chunk of money behind it. It's not really. It's $200. But make sure you've got something that works slickly because it will save you so much time and hassle in the future.
Yeah.
The one after that, we then go on to a bit of equipment.
Yeah.
So lighting. If you're going to be doing videos, you need good lighting.
Yep.
I remember when I started trying to do videos and I didn't have proper lighting equipment.
Yeah.
And I was just literally using the light bulb hanging from the ceiling and a bit of daylight.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looked shocking.
Yeah.
It looked so bad. I was like, I can't do
you
this.
have to move on. Yeah.
So the best things to get, I would say, are LED panels.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy really cheap ones. I think there's one. The one that I use is about $180.
Yeah.
Ideally, you'd want a 3-point light setup, so that can then get a little bit more expensive, almost close to $600.
I think I've got a 3-point softbox set.
Oh yeah,
was maybe 120 quid.
Okay.
And yeah, it's quite bulky, and we only really use it in the bigger room.
Yeah.
But it makes such a massive difference, such a huge difference. Something I would say about lighting is, it's important to do lighting. Now, I think that, and we'll come on to these, like, cameras and stuff now are so good. Like, phone cameras now are unbelievably good. That if you want to make videos, I would argue start making videos and then upgrade to lighting.
Yes.
Don't use the fact that you haven't got professional lighting rigs as an excuse for not creating videos.
No, I agree.
If you look at all the big guys on YouTube, and I mean like all the kind of like the big video stars, all of their early videos, the lighting's really, really poor.
Yeah.
And it's something you just have to get used to because you kind of have to build that habit. So don't use not having lighting as an excuse.
Yeah,
but having decent lighting will make a world of difference to your videos.
Well, that's it. It builds the kind of level of quality and the level of value to your videos. And if you're giving a perception of amazing quality through that, then people are more likely to trust you. People are more likely to listen to what you have to say.
We've got a Ring vanity light.
Yeah.
That's what we basically carry with us everywhere.
Yeah.
And that sorts out so much.
Yeah, they're really good as well.
Yeah, I think that's an LED light again. It just blasts a really bright, pure white light.
And that's it. And to be honest, all you need is one. If you can only afford one, then one is absolutely fine to begin with. But it will add such a depth to your videos and make them so much more
and it's stuff like what we've started doing is filming in front of a window, so the natural light hits my face, and then I will hide the white light out of camera, but blast that onto the background to kind of like wash it out to bring more focus to me. Yeah. There's just some really clever things you can start doing with just one good quality light. Yeah. And yeah, like we've started doing those infinite white backgrounds for some of the WP elevation videos and stuff, so that's good.
I've seen those actually. Yeah, they're really good.
I like doing that. They're quite hard work to set up, but I think the payoff is worth it. But then even when I'm just filming in front of my webcam, maybe at the office or at home, I find that having one light on me makes the background darker. Yeah. And again, it just makes this massive difference. It's easier to focus on. Yeah. The camera finds it easier to focus as well. Yeah. So yeah, lighting is, to me, lighting is the first piece of equipment that I would want to spend like a bit more money on. Yeah. If I've got everything else. Yep. Yeah. Completely agree. Yeah, good one. Then after that, you got your microphone. So once people can see you, people need to hear you. Yeah. And I think we've said this before. Yeah. People can put up with bad video quality. They can, yeah. But when it comes to bad sound quality, that instantly turns people off, and people are like, I can't deal with it, and they'll switch off. So a good microphone is so important when you're doing video content or audio content, podcasting and such. Yeah. I remember we started out with just using we used one Yeti Blue Pro. Yeah. Blue Yeti Pro. Yeah. And then we upgraded. You at the moment, if you've got a Shure SM58, which is just outstanding, and that plugs into a Zoom HN1 recorder. I've got an Audio-Technica ATR USB 2100, and I'll be honest, the quality on it's fine. The reason I bought it is because it has a XLR like plug, you know, for a dynamic cable plug, and it also has a USB plug. But I have noticed that its connectivity drops off sometimes. Oh, right, okay. And apparently that's a known issue. And it drives me fucking bananas. That's really annoying. When I'm going through, and this is why I'm constantly checking out the Zoom, because I have seen it just like drop off. And it does my head in. And we've had a couple of videos we've had to redo. Right. So personally, sorry Audio-Technica, I can't recommend this microphone. I think it's a great idea having a USB and XLR. But I'm finding I'm going back to using my Yeti more for the USB stuff. Yeah. Because it's so good. It is good. It's really USB good. Microphone. And that's $130. Yeah. To me, the microphone is, if you look after it, there's no reason why you'll have to buy one for another 10 years. Yeah. Like, the reason I bought the Shure SM58 is because this is the one that like singers take on tour. Right. And it's just bomb proof. This not so much apparently. I've kept it in a bag and it's still not doing that well. But yeah, a microphone, and as well, a microphone opens up the world of possibilities for the different types of content. I'm only going to use a camera and lighting for videos, right? A microphone allows me to do podcasts, audio recordings, dictation, voiceovers. Like if you let's say the worst comes to the worst, you had to choose between a camera and a microphone. I'd choose a microphone because I can still make videos without the camera looking at me. Yeah. And as long as I've got a good quality microphone, a bit like you said, kind of the way the ears work, it's harder for us to hear bad quality stuff, which is why microphone innovation has come so far in such a short space of time. But cameras, actually, I think I've got, frankly, quite a lot of catching up to do in retrospect. But you can buy more audio equipment for your phone than you can camera equipment. You know, so yeah, microphone, absolutely, get a decent one. If you're going to go only USB, get the Blue Yeti. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's the only one I use, and it's absolutely perfect. Yeah, it's a good piece of kit. Next up, logo animation. So that comes in at around $80. Yeah.
If you are doing videos, which I highly suggest you should be, because it's pretty much the number one piece of content for building trust and authority with your audience. Logo animation, literally $80. Go on places like Envato, go on places like Fiverr. You can get a really, really decent logo animation on there. Be careful not to get something that's stock. Get something that's uniquely designed to your logo. There's a difference between doing
There's some that are like almost basically like the star wipes that you used to see on like the 80s dating videos.
Like PowerPoint transitions.
Exactly. That it's basically it's just revealing the logo as opposed to animating the logo.
Have it animated. And remember just a quick tip on it. The animation should be short, very short. They should be very unique, simple, and impactful. You don't want to drag it out. You don't want to have all these crazy effects going on that just detracts from the logo.
Nothing does my head in more when I'm watching a YouTube video and it's a 20-second logo animation clip. Like, just it drives me mental. No, I agree. I don't like that.
So $80 for that. Next up, webcam.
I'm going to disagree with you on one of these points.
Are you? Which one are you going to disagree?
On this one about the webcam.
Oh, go on.
No, so you give your points, and I'm going to tell you why you're wrong.
I can see which point you probably have issues with. Okay. So $60 for the webcam. I used the Logitech C920.
Very good webcam.
Absolutely incredible webcam.
Yeah.
I can see which bit Mike's going to disagree on. I've said that a really decent 1080p HD cam is absolutely fine.
He's
Don't worry about.
added that little bit in. Right, go on.
Don't worry about 4K just yet.
He hasn't written that in the show notes. What he's written is a good 1080p, but instead what he's replaced it with there is like an incredible and a decent 1080p.
Oh, which to me is like picking up wording.
No. So a 1080. So all cameras now should be at least 1080p as standard, right? I completely agree. So I've got a Logitech Brio.
Oh yeah.
Which is their 4K one, and I think it was like maybe £300. It was quite expensive. It comes with a USB 3 adapter, so it has to be like quite a fast latency. I can't plug it into my extender port. It has to go directly into the PC.
Right.
At first, I was a bit like, 4K, whatever. There's barely any 4K content out there. Here's why I think people should start looking at 4K as early as possible. First of all, more and more screens that we're viewing on are becoming 4K. Like my phone is already 4K. I think maybe back into even the S5 was 4K.
Yeah, possibly.
And a lot of our screens are becoming 4K. Both our laptops are 4K. People actually tend to watch videos apparently on mute anyway now. It's like you've got to have subtitles. That's the next big thing. But the reason I like 4K so much is because I can play around with the camera shot a lot in post-production. So even if I keep it as 1080p, I've still got 2,200 pixels or so to play with. So I can move the camera around and shoot it and still keep it in high definition.
I see. Okay, so more for editing.
So I get a lot of editing out of it, which I like a lot, and I can zoom in a lot on stuff and it still be kept in HD.
Yep.
Having said that as well, watching some of the stuff that you're able to do, because it's 4K, I found that the aperture's slightly wider. It gives me a wider frame of view, so I can film kind of bigger stuff like whiteboard sessions slightly better.
Yep.
I would argue, so first of all, I would say if you haven't got one, just stick with the C920, which is, I think they are, I still use that for the office. I think it's an amazing piece of kit. Get a decent microphone, spend more money on that. But if you can get a 4K camera, considering I'm going to wager that my S8 films in 4K as well. I just think the amount of people who are uploading this kind of content and the rate that our screens are going at, I just say just do it now.
Fair enough. I have no what to say.
Still
on
has
the
not
subject.
smiled. Still has not smiled throughout the entire episode. But yeah, like you can get.
No,
and the
I've
thing
got
is,
nothing against the 4K. To be honest, I just think that if someone's starting out,
I completely agree.
A level of money that you're going to be spending compared to your overall budget, I don't think 4K is possibly where you should be putting.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Money.
That's fair enough. I get it.
But
take a look at your phone though, because your phone probably films in 4K.
That's probably true.
Already. You know.
That's probably true. And once you've got a decent mic and a bit of lighting behind that, your phone is probably going to be absolutely perfect.
Very good point.
Cool. Okay, moving on. Music. So music is incredibly, incredibly important when you're doing videos, when you're doing audio, anything where your audience can hear what you're doing. Music plays a very, very important role. So I think we've also mentioned this before, but music is the only thing that bypasses the croc brain.
Yeah.
So the croc brain is basically a part of your very, very core inner, so primitive side of your brain.
I've been researching this researching and reading about it recently. I think it's called the basal ganglia. That part of the brain.
Oh, okay.
If I remember correctly, I think it's called the basal ganglia.
Okay.
Yeah. I might be talking about a bit later, actually, but yeah.
And basically, that part of your brain takes in any kind of stimulus and says, is it dangerous, for one, and is it interesting?
Yeah.
So those are the two kind of main things. If it's dangerous, it will tell you to run.
Yeah.
If it's interesting, it will want to find out more. And it will then pass that sensory information onto the higher parts of the brain, which is where you then get into the more kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
So basically what we can take is quite basic information, goes through to the neocortex part of the brain, which means we're able to conceptualize ideas a lot easier. So the thing is, if I try to explain to James a really important subject that's quite complex, James's complex part of the brain doesn't receive it first.
Yeah.
It goes through this like croc brain and then is filtered into that higher thinking part of the brain that only humans have.
Yeah.
And yeah,
exactly.
Music basically bypasses a lot of that and allows us to, which is why it's interesting we talk about this actually, because I could talk all day about this. I've been reading a lot about this recently. Classical music, the reason people are turned off classical music is because it requires a level of education to understand, and we can't understand why. We actually don't know why, after being educated about classical music, you are more likely to enjoy it. Pop music is popular because it is sugar water shit just being pumped into your veins. There's no education required to consume it.
No.
And it's exactly the same thing. The brain gets a fix from something it understands, but music bypasses all of that. So yeah, and this is kind of, we're talking, gone way off topic on this one, but this is about like audio logos, jingles,
yeah,
intros,
basically,
this kind of stuff,
yeah. So like the music that we use at the beginning of the podcast, for example, and you can pick stuff up. There is a hell of a lot of shit out there.
Yeah.
There's a load. You'll have to do a lot of searching to get something good.
Shit.
But there are some gems.
Yeah.
And you can pick them up for as little as $20.
Yeah.
And then you can use that through whatever you want to use it from. And finally, on the one-off costs, Photoshop actions. Now, I'm a huge fan of Photoshop actions.
Yeah, you've got a bit of a problem, haven't you?
Oh, the amount that I bought.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is, you can do so much, and they only cost like $5 or $6.
How many have you actually used?
Don't worry about it. I've used loads.
Yeah, of course you have.
And bought more.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, you can find a Photoshop action for literally anything.
Yeah.
Like, you want to make something like blaze on fire, fine. One click Photoshop action. You want to like turn a cityscape into like a frozen wasteland.
What sort of fucking branding are you doing for your business? You run a little course business. Why are you setting things on fire and having massive geostorms as you see landscapes?
I don't need these sort of questions, Mike.
Yeah.
Trust my brand building abilities.
There's actually a perspex screen in between us. James is sat on one side and I'm sat on the other. Me questioning him about these things.
I actually use it for all of my personal
want to set
family
fire to
photographs.
if you want to set fire to pictures of your in-laws, just get a Photoshop action.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a Photoshop action
it
for
really works. $5.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all you got to do.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, you can literally do anything with them. Have a look on Envato because there are tons. But for $5, get something into Photoshop, one click, and it does it for you, and it literally transforms stuff. That's $5.
Yeah, and there's some good stuff as well. Like we've done things like color replace tools and stuff with the actions. It's not just editing the image; it can actually make the process of doing something repetitively like quite quick.
Yeah,
if you've got to do something, chances are someone's got an action for it knocking around somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's all the one-off costs that you'll be looking at. Now moving on to the ongoing costs. Now within these are a lot of kind of tools and applications, because these are the sort of things that you're going to be paying monthly for.
Yeah.
Not all necessarily branding specific.
Yeah.
but you need them to build your brand.
Yeah.
So that's why we've included them. So first off, I mean, you might have some different, because I know you use different tools to what I do, so the costings might be slightly different.
Yeah, there's a few that I've got more expensive and a few that are cheaper, so I'm interested to hear kind of what you've got to say about these. These are good.
Okay, so first up, email automation software.
Yeah.
Now, I pay around $29 a month for that. And like I said, it's not strictly part of the branding process, but it's vital for communicating with your audience. And communication is an essential part of branding.
Yeah.
So you need something, we've gone through this before as well in another episode, that you need something that works slickly, that can automate easily, and that can put people through a flow without you having to do much to it. So $29 a month for the email automation software. Is that one of the ones that you...
Yeah, so I've actually... what one are you referring to here? Drip?
ConvertKit.
ConvertKit, yeah. So Drip, ConvertKit, Convertry, Get Convert, there's fucking millions of them. Campaign Monitor. So I use Active Campaign, but I pay like a couple $100 a month for Active Campaign because we've got extra features and I've got quite a big list. The reason, so $29 a month I think is perfectly reasonable. I think if you're willing to spend that. MailChimp has actually got full automation and it's free for a certain level under.
Yeah.
I like MailChimp a lot. I've still got a lot of time for MailChimp because I think the email building side of it is second to none. It's best in class. Their automation is clunky. It's certainly not the best that's out there. But if you're proper on a budget and you know that you want to start automating stuff and it's just a few welcome emails, check out MailChimp.
Yep.
Particularly if you've got an e-commerce course because they integrate very well with e-commerce style businesses. But yeah, I think Active Campaign has like a $20 or $30 a month level. I know that yours does as well. So there's a lot of different ones. It's not part of branding, so that's why I'm going to say don't feel you have to go overboard on a lot of the features and stuff involved in it.
Yeah.
But to me, that's where I like to invest more money personally.
Yep.
Because we send out so many emails and we're on a partner program and stuff. So yeah, it's out there depending on what you want to go for. Yeah, MailChimp is free, but yeah, I think $30 a month is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Next up, web hosting. So I pay $18 a month for mine. I use Squarespace.
Yep.
Again, it's a hugely important part to the success of your business. It's the main hub where your brand is, where you welcome your audience to. And it's the first kind of experience that they usually get that is the whole experience that is you and your business. I mean, they get snippets of it on Twitter, they get snippets of it on Facebook, etc. But once they land onto your website, everything about that should be a consistent experience that's not only slick, fast, but that should allow you to host and build content and build web pages yourself easily and make it look good.
Yeah. So we use WordPress for everything. If we're on a budget and if our customers are on a budget, we use thisistap.com, which are a UK-based hosting company for WordPress, just WordPress. And I think they are outstanding for what they deliver and what they offer.
Nice.
That's the $5 a month per install, which I think is probably the best WordPress specific cheap hosting. We actually use WP Engine, so we're a couple $100 a month, something like that.
Yep.
But there's a reason that we pay for that. So yeah, if you're on a budget, you're starting out. The reason that I don't think people should go for things that are dirt cheap, like Flywheel as well, as I think is another very good one. SiteGround, I've heard good things about. Recently, we've had some problems with like the hosts that we were with. I even have to say that GoDaddy Pro recently has actually come on leaps and bounds, which I know a lot of people are going to scream at me about, but they have actually done quite a good job recently.
Okay.
But there's a few things like HostGator and stuff where it's like $1 a year. You're going to get $1 a year's worth of experience from it.
I would not want to pay $1 a year.
Like hosting is one of those expenses where if everything's going well, you often think, well, what the fuck am I paying for? But then when everything goes wrong, you're like, well, what the fuck am I paying for?
Yeah.
You are going to spend a lot more money fixing bad hosting than just investing in decent hosting.
Yeah.
Like it's such a huge part of it, So yeah, splash out a little bit more on web hosting.
Yeah. Next up, productivity tools. So I'm kind of including Office 365, G Suite and stuff like that in here.
G Suite doesn't exist anymore.
Is it not G Suite anymore? What is it?
It's changed. Someone's probably going to correct me on this. It's literally only last week.
Oh, right.
Yeah, G Suite's changed its name and everything that's included inside it. I haven't read up about it. I need to do that.
Oh, I've got to read up about that as well.
Yeah,
Then.
someone will have to check that out. There's something to do with G Suite has changed.
Fine.
Yeah, like Google Cloud is now called Google Backup. They can't help themselves. They
Why
can't
do they keep
stick with
just-
one fucking name for more than a few months. It's unbelievable.
It's really annoying.
Oh, it's infuriating.
At the end of the day, they've got a word processor, they've got an Excel type spreadsheet tool, they've got a PowerPoint type tool.
Just call it that.
Whatever.
Yeah. So
Doesn't matter.
So it has changed, but yeah, basically those kind of tools that are out there, they're crazy affordable, super useful. You're probably going to use them every day.
Yeah, exactly. So $13 a month. The only couple of caveats is that make sure they're cloud based, because then you have access to everything wherever you go. And also make sure that a business email address is included within those. You don't want to be sending stuff from a Hotmail account or a Gmail account or an Outlook account.
Yeah.
You want it specifically branded to your business name.
Yeah.
Next up, image editing software. I use Photoshop.
Yep.
And Lightroom.
Yep.
Just because they come in like a really good package together that Adobe do. That's $10 a month. I know some people use Canva.
So I use Canva, but not for image editing. I think it's really important. Photo editing, you will never get better than Photoshop.
No.
I use Canva for putting together social media pictures, basically, because it's quick and it's just all the templates and stuff, and that's how our VA team are trained to just go through that process.
Yep.
But still, I use Photoshop probably a couple of times a week at least, and I don't do any, like, I'm not a graphic designer, so even then I still use it to put stuff together. So yeah, and I like the model they've gone with now. That's now more affordable.
Yeah, the CC model is really, really good. I literally spend a lot of time in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Everything from all of the website design, all the banners, all of the social graphics.
Yeah.
All of the content upgrades and stuff that I do, all through to like the course workbooks. Everything, some part of it has been touched by Photoshop. So yeah, I think also Illustrator.
Yeah,
I
very
don't
good.
personally use Illustrator, but I know how useful it can be to if you're designing your own icons, designing your own logos. If you're going down that route and you have the knowledge to do it, then Illustrator is also another great bet.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the expertise in doing that side of it, then Photoshop is probably more than enough.
Yeah, man.
This is getting into kind of like the nitty gritty now, like your domain name.
Yeah.
So that's like $4 a month or whatever.
Yeah.
Make sure you've got something that works for your business. There's a whole load of stuff behind that we won't go into now, but $4 a month for that. Then everything else, literally free. So images, any filters you want to use, any icons, background, shapes, textures, whatever.
Yeah.
There are literally millions of websites out there that host everything for free. You really don't need to go to like Shutterstock. You don't need to do any of that.
Unsplash is now part of our brand process.
Unsplash
where we
is
just
incredible.
say you can use any image from Unsplash. We basically say that to our team now.
That's pretty much the main source of my imagery as well.
Yeah.
Just because the quality of their images are so good.
Yep.
You don't need to go anywhere else. Sometimes there'll be stuff that I can't quite find on there.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
And I'll have a few other options that I go to, but Unsplash is pretty much the main one there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are so many sites out there that have everything for free that you don't need to go anywhere else. So that's pretty much it for the one-off costs, for the ongoing costs.
Very good.
I always get really pissed off in articles that come along with all this stuff. Go, this is this, and then say, and there you go.
Right.
How about we give a total?
Yeah. Okay.
How about we sum it all up?
What's the total for the one-off, and then what's the total for the ongoing cost then?
So one-off costs, you're pretty much looking at about $1,500.
That's pretty good, isn't it, to get everything?
One-off costs.
That's pretty good.
$1,500.
Yeah.
And then your ongoing costs, $75 a month.
Yeah.
$75 a month.
That's still pretty good, isn't it?
That's really good to start up a brand and make sure that you literally have everything, all the tools that you need, all of the imagery, all of the logo, that literally everything that you need, the design elements of your brand.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
And then picture that with then what an agency will charge you, $6,000 plus. And then that's without all of the ongoing costs which you need to invest in anyway.
Yeah.
Because you will need all of those anyway. So that's $1,500 for the one-off compared to $6,000 at the very cheap end. That's insane.
Yeah. No, it's good, man.
So yeah, there we go.
Cool.
Um,
Have you got? Do you want to do the toolkit in this?
yeah. So
go for it. Yeah.
there is Startup Branding Toolkit Guide, which is on the BrandSnap website. It'll also be in the show notes for this. If you want to find out all of the tools that I use for BrandSnack, then give that a download, have a look. There are 15 pages worth of all of the design resources, all of the pieces of hardware and stuff that I use, all the productivity tools. And that's all kind of where the costings have come from. So give that a go, and should we move on to the content report?
Yeah, well done.
Let's do it.
That's good. You go first if you want, man, because I've read this as well. I'm a big fan of this guy.
Cool. Okay, so this week, whenever, I've been going through Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley.
Yeah.
Really, really good book, actually.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
That's my dog, by the way. He's having or me. I don't know. Either way, it's just me.
James can harmonise with
just
himself.
My kind of Tourette's.
What is it, Basil? What do you want, mate?
Probably the postman. So yeah, it's actually an incredibly eye-opening book into what makes successful businesses, the demand for them completely outstrip the supply of what they have. How do you get people queuing up to use your service?
Yeah. It's interesting because I think the process behind it is more simplistic than a lot of people make out.
Yep.
And we were kind of talking about this earlier, how a lot of people jump from tactic to tactic to tactic. And he says, if you're consistently making people feel welcome, consistently putting out valuable stuff and pushing that, over time you do become oversubscribed.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because at first I was like, I'd love this. And the second half of the book kind of talks about the problems with being oversubscribed and how you deal with them. And that's something at MeBox, we, in the last 2 weeks or something, we've booked something like 15 calls or something. And it's just too much.
Right.
We are now like really at the brink of where we can be. So yeah, the philosophy behind Oversubscribed, very, very pragmatic book.
Yeah.
To what is seen as something that's almost impossible to achieve,
Yeah, exactly. Really, really good book.
Yeah.
Very, very quick to read, actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's quite short.
But the points in it really do hit home and really make you kind of look at your own business and look at the way you do things. And instead of kind of throwing a product out there and hoping people will find it and try and get as many people as possible that way. Yeah. It's all about creating exclusivity for your product or service, and making it something that's so desirable, building the anticipation, building all of that. And one of the main things that I learned from it was about saying no, the importance about saying no to certain people, or putting limits on things and saying, you know what, no, we only have 10 spots in our program for the entire year. If you don't get on it, then tough. Yeah. Or no, I can't work with you now. I'll work with you in 3 months' time when I'm free again. I won't squeeze you in because I need the money. Yeah. I mean, those are really difficult things for people to do.
No, they are, but once you start doing them, you don't want to stop doing them. No. This is the thing. You have to put the cart before the horse in a lot of these respects. You don't become oversubscribed through magic. You decide that you are oversubscribed already, and then you put it forward. And the thing I took away from it is you can fill up your calendar and your diary with all the stuff that you need to do. And once you see all the stuff that you need to do yourself, when someone says, can I just get an hour of your time? You're like, actually, you can't. Like, I'm already booked out with the stuff that I have to do, and just putting that philosophy out there and pushing that out kind of into the universe and into your own mindset makes a massive difference in what other people perceive you and your business as, Yeah, good book.
Exactly.
I think is he Australian? Was he?
I thought he was British.
Yeah, I've got a feeling he's Australian.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember hearing him talk and I was like, is that a kind of Aussie accent?
Okay.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, so I've been reading You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. Okay. Now, this came across my desk as like you might like to read. And it was quite short, so I was like, yeah, I'll pick this up. I don't think it's written for me. I think it is written for like female entrepreneurs. Yep. The mindset and stuff. However, going through it, I have fallen in love with Jen and her methods of making money and dealing with money.
Okay.
Jen's a genuine story where at the age of 40, she still lived in a garage, like she had nothing.
Wow.
And she basically changed her mindset, and she goes through a load of the objections that we all have about money, being rich, being wealthy, like, oh, but all rich people are, dickheads, and, oh, if I have money, it'll change me. And then it kind of moves more into this wider, almost spiritual, aspect of how you treat money.
Okay.
And it's at first I was like, oh, I'm just gonna, I have to finish books. Like, I can't read them and put them down. Like, I've got to finish them. And at first I was like, I can't be doing with this. And then about a third of the way through the book, I found myself agreeing with more and more stuff. And by the end of it, I had fully swallowed the Kool-Aid. I was like, this is absolutely brilliant. She's bang on the money here. And I started doing some of the exercises that she had, that she talks about showing appreciation. Basically, the two core things are, whatever you focus on will grow.
Okay.
So whatever you appreciate will grow.
Yep.
And you have to be willing to genuinely believe that money will make your life better. Right. A lot of people moan about not having money, but then they won't let themselves believe or work on making more money.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So there's a lot of these philosophies, and she goes over them, looks at real case studies and stuff. Absolutely fascinating book. Oh, cool. Really, really interesting. Like, not just from a money perspective or an entrepreneur perspective, like as a motivational perspective as well. She's a great writer, very, very funny. So yeah, You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. Outstanding book.
Nice.
Yeah, really, really good.
Cool.
Yeah,
that sounds really good, mate.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah, it's not.
I'm always up for stuff that, like, I think money is a very strange thing in the minds of people.
Yeah.
People have this weird kind of aversion to it.
Yeah.
They want it.
Yeah.
But they won't talk about it. They won't learn about it. They won't it's this really weird, like, sort of like, look but don't touch.
Yeah, no, it is. I have literally done a coaching call on this with WP Elevation. I've done another podcast on this, and I did a call with GoDaddy about this subject. It's something I want to learn more about.
Yeah.
And yeah, money is, everyone in the world has got a weird relationship with money.
Yeah.
And everyone knows everything about money. Like, everyone's got it figured out. You know? So it's an interesting book, and it talks more about the kind of the spiritual side of how to make more money. It's very interesting.
Nice. I'm gonna have to give that a little read. That sounds really good.
Cool.
I
think that about does it.
I think that's it for this week's episode.
Another one.
Cool.
It's insane, isn't it?
And we will see you guys next week.
Yeah, on the next one, where we're talking about writing a killer piece of blog content.
We are, mate. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that, actually.
Yeah, so it's long form blog content that basically how to position yourself as an authority, how to cement yourself as an expert and an authority. That's what we're going to be really talking about.
That's really good.
Cool.
Looking forward to that.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
If you liked this episode, please subscribe to the Sell Your Brand Show on iTunes or your favourite podcast app, and leave a rating and a review. It makes us feel all warm and fuzzy inside when we hear we're not just talking rubbish. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, drop us an email to podcast@sellyourbrandshow.com, and we'll feature it in a future episode.